Hey everyone, and thanks for checking out this video. Today we're on the south side of Chicago at the Belt Railway of Chicago Clearing Yard. You can see the downtown in the distance. Technically though, this is Bedford Park and not in the city. We're just south of Midway Airport, and to be approved to fly here, I'm only authorized to fly my drone at 100 feet or below. So unfortunately, that means we won't be able to see that much. I recorded this on my way into the city for a weekend trip and didn't have my radio with me, so unfortunately you'll just be hearing the sounds of the area and none of the radio traffic. We'll just watch the action and I'll share some information about the facility. Everything will be sped up 4 times. There will be a second video with all the real-time footage that should already be published. Here's a look at the hump and the control tower for the classification yards. There's an eastbound train being sorted. This facility has 2 humps for traffic coming from the east or west, but it only has 1 hump hill. The tracks actually run parallel to one another in opposite directions. You'll notice it features a wicket-shaped tower over the hump to manage both bowls rather than a traditional single tower for each yard. This is the brain center and where the switches and retarders for both classification yards are controlled. We also see a westbound make its way up the hill. You can spot the pin puller and the orange vest for the eastbound cars. I plan to make it back up here at some point and get some scanner audio, as well as hopefully find a few more places to record the yard. In the background, we see it looks like a train is either arriving to the east receiving yard or maybe bypassing the facility altogether. Here's a little info on the Belt Railway. It's the largest switching terminal railroad in the United States. It's co-owned by all 6 Class 1 freight railroads: the Union Pacific, BNSF, Norfolk Southern, CSX, Canadian National, and CPKC. About 450 people work for the company. Here's an aerial picture of the yard. It was taken by user Formula One. The clearing yard spans 5.5 miles or 8.9 kilometers. It's one of the largest hump yards in North America. It has more than 250 miles or 402 kilometers of track. This facility is adjacent to the CSX Bedford Park Intermodal terminal. You can see that to the right of the facility in the picture. We'll take a look at that too, but I didn't find any information about the site. Now let's take a look at a diagram showing the layout of everything. This is really two yards just next to each other. They're just mirrored. This does show there's a lot more traffic heading east than there is west based on the size of the classification yards. Here we see our first BRC locomotives, number 300 and a yard slug. 300 is an SD40-2. A closer look shows the yard slug unit is number 301. That's a former SD40-2 converted to a yard slug. You can also see a Canadian National and CPKC locomotive in its Canadian Pacific paint scheme in the background. Here we see the pin pullers. The stick or rod he just put down I believe is used to pull the handbrakes on cars. The pin puller just hopped on the front of that yard slug. As the locomotives head out of sight, pay attention to this next shot. You'll see just how close Midway Airport is as a Southwest jet comes in for a landing. Here we get a better view of where the yard is in relation to the downtown. We also see a CSX intermodal train heading east and another smaller jet coming in for a landing. Here we see our locomotives heading to round up another string of cars to sort. Here's a better look at the hump tower and a few locomotives behind it. We'll follow this green boxcar for a bit. You can really see how the retarders slow cars down. The railroad says very few cars will travel across the country without coming through Chicago. It says workers are able to classify as much as 50 miles or 80 kilometers of train consists every 24 hours. It operates around the clock and can handle sorting more than 8,400 rail cars a day. Now let's take a look at the West Classification Yard. Like I mentioned, it's smaller. Looks to be about 2/3 the size of the East Yard. We also see the West Receiving and Departure Yards. I couldn't get much of a view from this spot, so let's focus on the CSX Intermodal facility next to it. I count 11 tracks for loading and unloading, although based on the number of cranes, that middle section to the right must be the busiest. You can imagine it's this busy 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Alright, I decided to move to a new location. We're on the west side of the facility and a little further away from the airport. I was able to get an FAA authorization to fly up to 200 feet in the air here. We're again looking at the CSX facility. That's the departure yard on the left and the receiving yard in the center of your screen. There's also another jet coming in for a landing. Here we see both yards. Sorry for the digital zoom, but it's the only way I could get a close-up shot of the West Yard. Now we're staring down the receiving yard. You can follow the train the locomotive with the light on is attached to and see the front of it at the top right corner of your screen. Back to the intermodal facility. It really is fascinating to see these places in action. There's another Southwest flight arriving at Midway. It's a Southwest hub in case you were wondering. I caught this BNSF train heading west, but had to get going because I had to go pick up my girlfriend from O'Hare International Airport. Real quick though, here are a few shots I got of the locomotives around the facility. You can see some former Union Pacific units alongside some Wisconsin Southern engines. There's a neat caboose in front of it as well. Here we see more BRC and Union Pacific units along with some leased units. I believe this building's the diesel repair shops. You can just barely see the 1914 marking on the tallest section. Here we see a CSX train pulling into the intermodal facility. Well, that does it for me. Here's one last skyline shot and a look at the yard. I've included a link to a Trains magazine article detailing the ins and outs of the operation of the facility. It's worth a read if you get a chance. Well, I hope you enjoyed this first look at the Chicago Belt Railway Clearing Yard. Until our next trip, I hope you have a great day.